Tonight, Defense Minister makes case for Ghana to buy another presidential jet as it defends the president's decision to rent a private jet despite the existing presidential jet being in good condition. We hear from the NDC minority in Parliament as they reject the Defense Minister's explanation for spending an alleged £15,000 an hour on the luxury private jet.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Gasim Cement, the nation builder, as well as Vodafone. Well, the Defense Minister, Dominic Nitiwol, is tonight making a case for Ghana to acquire a new presidential jet. Now, he has been in Parliament today defending President Akufo-Addo's decision to rent a private jet despite the existing presidential jet being in good condition. The NDC minority had alleged that the president opted for the most luxurious private jet, which they claim cost the taxpayer £15,000 an hour. While in Parliament today, Dominic Nitiwol explained that the existing presidential jet was too small and lacked the capacity to fly long hauls, hence the request by the Ghana Air Force for government to buy another presidential jet. Mr. Nitiwol stressed that in transporting the president, he is only interested in president's safety and not the cost of travel. While the minority has been quick to reject the minister's explanations, ranking member on Parliament's Foreign Affairs Committee, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, has been addressing a press conference, and he joins me live on the telephone line right now. Hello, Mr. Okudzeto-Ablakwa. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello, Mr. Ablakwa. Thank you for your time. Hello, Mr. Ablakwa.
Hi, good
yes,
evening.
Great, I can hear you. We'll also be joined shortly by the Defense Minister himself, who, of course, was on the floor today. But let me start with you. The Minister had laid out the argument today on the floor. And amongst the key things he says is that this particular existing Falcon 900X Easy jet, which is, he admits, is in serviceable condition, which is good, carries only 11 passengers and cannot fly long hauls. In fact, a maximum of 6 hours at a time, and you'll have to refuel. And that necessitated the hiring of this private jet. He actually goes on now to make an argument for safety and not necessarily cost. He certainly has a point, does he not?
The defense minister cannot have a point. The defense minister must show the people of this country some respect. Even if he will not accord the minority in parliament respect, he should show the good people of this country some respect. Look, first of all, as I showed in parliament today, the Falcon 900 EXE, when it was being purchased and the approval was sought in March 2008, the Parliament of Ghana, which is the records we have, if you go through the Hansard, column 2122, we were told that the Falcon 900 EX Easy takes up to 15 passengers, not 11. So it debunks that claim.
Does that include, because in his submission,
number two,
just for clarity, Mr. Kujeto, in his submission to Parliament today, he says that 11 excludes the crew. So what you just quoted, 15, does it include or exclude the crew?
This must include the crew. So it's a 15 passenger aircraft.
So there's no discrepancy there.
It flies 4,000 nautical miles. I'm quoting from the Hansard. 4,000 nautical miles, and can fly to Asia, North America, and Eastern Europe. The Hansard revealed that the aircraft can fly for a minimum of 8 hours before you refuel. Accra to Paris is 6.5 hours. 6.5 hours. So the president could have flown with this presidential jet, which today and which is the most important point, the most fundamental point, is that this presidential jet is in mint condition, it's in pristine condition, it's in great condition, it's available to be used. The president could have used it. He could have flown this jet without needing to refuel because it's just a 6.5-hour journey. Then the other untenable excuse is that the presidential jet, as it is now, the president cannot take a bath in the presidential jet. I mean, the most ridiculous thing perhaps we have ever been told in Parliament. The question is, when the president is on land in Accra working as president, does he take his bath every 6.5 hours? Accra to Paris is just 6.5 hours. I mean, why is having a shower so important that a presidential jet? Look, we bought our presidential jet the same year France bought its presidential jet in 2010. They are still using their presidential jet.
Is it the same? Is it the same Falcon?
2 days ago to Rwanda.
Is it the same Falcon 900 Easy jet?
No, that's another spec. But they are still using it. If you read
I wonder why you refer to that, because if they are dissimilar.
I refer to it because they are still using their presidential jet. We were told, if you read this Hansard, the fourth paragraph at column 2122, we are told that the lifespan of the Falcon is at least 20 years. We are just in the 11th year. And as the defense minister confirmed, this presidential jet is in serviceable condition. There's nothing wrong with it. Look, these are all post-facto rationalization just to justify this unjustifiable 15,000 pounds an hour. In today's exchange, 122,700 Ghana cedis an hour, 2.8 million cedis for just 23 hours. And you are coming up with, look, another excuse he gave was COVID, that if the president has to refuel, we put him at COVID risk. Look, I have been part of presidential delegation. When you land for refueling, you are given an option whether you want to disembark or you want to stay on the aircraft. Often, President Mahama, President Mills, they have stayed on board. They have not disembarked. So this COVID excuse is a non-starter.
But the crew will have to. Some of the crew will have to, and they'll be subject to the same treatment.
And in any case, I have told you that Accra to Paris, you don't even need to refuel. The only other challenge will be Paris to Joburg. Now, Paris to Joburg, you all you do is that you travel from Paris to Accra, where you left. If you are afraid of COVID, you live in Accra. You began your journey from Accra. So you come to Accra, 6.5 hours, you refuel, and you go to Joburg for 5.5 hours. So this COVID, excuse, I mean, it's a total non-starter.
Stay with me, Mr. Blackwell, because the defense minister has just a second. The defense minister has just joined us. Mr. Nito, thank you for your time here on Top Story.
Thank you very much. Good evening to the people of Ghana. Good evening to Honorable Blackwell and all those listening to us.
Let's start with the explanation, the technical, explanation for why the president chose to use the private jet hire. You talk about the long-haul difficulty with the existing presidential jet. Mr. Blackwell had just quoted from a Hansard when they were briefed on the capacity of the Falcon 900X Easy, and he quotes it that it can do as long as 8 hours in one flight. The private jet we rented for the president, if you check the specification on the website of the company we hired from, can do a maximum of 12 hours. So you're talking about 4-hour difference. Is that a proper, adequate justification for using that when we're going to France and the longest haul was Joburg and spending 15,000 an hour for it?
So good evening to the people of Ghana and good evening to you. I agreed to have this conversation because I expect us to have a civil discussion to inform the people of Ghana. I think that I don't like to use words like Honorable Blackwell does not respect the people of Ghana or he doesn't respect the majority. I think that I won't do that. And I would ask him not to do that because he knows me and he knows I will not do that kind of thing. That's the first thing. Secondly, to try to impugn bad motive for me, it is not good. I gave it an 8-page answer to the question, and all the answers are in what I have said. First of all, I said that the Ghana Air Force originally had Fokker 28 in its fleet that carried more than 25 passengers at that time. Achampon used it, Ekufo used it, President Rawlings used it, and President Kufuor used it. But at the tail end of President Kufuor's reign, he realized that the Air Force said they didn't have any good plane to move any longer, to use for what we call strategic airlift, and also to use to carry VVIPs. And so he decided to place an order for 2 aircraft. I reminded the members of parliament that that aircraft is not the property of the presidency. It is the property of Ghana, but held in trust by the Ghana Air Force. That's the first thing I said. So it is not a presidential plane. When the president wants to travel on that plane, he has to write to me, the defense minister, or Ablakwa, or any other person who is the defense minister, to ask that, can you give me an appropriate aircraft to travel with? When the president is going to travel in his presidential fleet of cars, he doesn't write to me because that is the property of the presidency. But that aircraft belongs to the people of Ghana, but it is the Air Force that is for it. So it is essentially Ministry of Defense that controls that aircraft. The president has to come and ask permission before, and I stated that to them. And I said that the aircraft that we have, or every country has, is the diplomatic reach of the country. It goes by influence, it goes by diplomacy, and it goes by what we call the diplomatic foreign influence that any other person would have. That is the reason why a country like Mali has a big jet. It is not presidential. It's used to do what we call strategic leads. That's why a country like Niger has a big jet. That's why a country like Nigeria has a big jet. Ivory Coast has a big jet. In fact, they are ordering a second one. Senegal has a big jet. They are ordering a second one. I'm coming, please. All these countries have named in West Africa, Burkina, all of them. Now, President Kufuor had ordered 2 aircraft, even though he knew at that time that President Kufuor, was not going to use those aircraft. He ordered 2. One was the BBJ, which is a Boeing business jet, and the other is this current Falcon. The Falcon was to serve as what we call a stopgap, serve as a backup to that BBJ, and then to be used within West Africa. Because how many times does a president travel outside the country? He travels once every 3 months or 6 months or once in a year. So technically, for a big jet, the president is the last person who will normally use it frequently. The people who will use that jet frequently are the soldiers we in the Ministry of Defense sent to Lebanon. Over the last 10 years, we spent $50 million United States dollars just to transport soldiers alone. And this same type of jet is what they use. So the Air Force said, look, give us a jet that we can use to transport our own people and save Ghana money. This $50 million United States dollars, we just spend it once, buy the aircraft, or $100 million, and we will not have to spend any other money over the next 20, 30 years. Look, all the movement that we are doing, 1 kasa an hour that we operate is $10,000. Parliament, that he is a member of Parliament, in hundreds of, most tens of times, they have come to me that they need an aircraft. Even on Saturday, they are coming to me that they need an aircraft. That is an hour, which is $10,000. The helicopter that every day is moving, every day that is moving, parliamentarians are coming, chiefs are coming, everybody is coming. An hour is 5,000 United States dollars. So I said, when you come to the Minister for Defense, that you need an appropriate aircraft to travel, and you are qualified to use it for national duties, what we look at is the safety of the passengers and the crew, not the amount involved in it. That's the first thing we look at first, before we look at other factors. It doesn't mean we don't look at the amount, but what we look at first is the safety of the passengers. Now, when it comes to the choice of the president's travel, it's a schedule. The choice of the president's travel is a schedule and determined by 2 groups of people, National Security, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and he knows it. He knows that a president sometimes can travel with a delegation of more than 50 people, and he knows that President Mahama has done that before to UN missions. He knows it. And I said that when a president has to travel like that, it is unwise to use a small aircraft because the entire team has to travel 2 or 3 days before to wait for the president. The hotel bills alone cumulatively adds up to the state. It is more expensive. At no point, at no point did I ever say that President Akufo-Addo cannot shower. That's why he's using this. Please, I think that we should not do this to ourselves. And let me quote what I said. Let me quote what I said. This aircraft will carry a load of 11 passengers minus the crew. If you add the crew, it goes back to the number that Ablakwa is talking about.
Is it 15?
When this crew is traveling, when this aircraft is traveling to the eastern part of the United States or Asia, it will not load a crew of more than 8 plus the luggage. And that is a fact. You can ask the Air Force people. It's something that you can ask them. They are always there. You can ask them. So it depends on where you are going. Secondly, I have also said the aircraft has to do refueling stops. And also in this COVID era, when you are traveling to multiple destinations like the president's recent trip, the Falcon couldn't have been taken because he would have had to do technical stops which are not desirable in this COVID era. And when he's traveling with more than 20 people, and that's what I said.
But Mr. Nito, the president could certainly have used a Falcon to go to France. No, it's important to clarify. He could certainly have used a Falcon to travel to France.
The president has used the Falcon to travel to France, to UK, to several places. The president was not traveling to just France. And listen to what I said. I said that when he's traveling, I use the word when he's traveling with more than 20 people like he has been doing for the business trade that has brought in huge sums of money to this country, he may need, and I'm talking about the president, not Akufo-Addo, he may need not just a Falcon. Otherwise, the others will have to go a day before the president to prepare themselves. And that will bring associated costs. In fact, the president will have to go a day before. So the president, his entire team, plus everybody will have to go the day before because no president can shower in this aircraft. He cannot move from this aircraft straight into a meeting, and that is a fact.
No, but on the number question is important. The flight that we hired for the president only carries 19 people. I mean, so this is what, 8 people more. I mean, the difference there isn't huge. If you compare it to the sheer number of people the president traveled with, this is also relatively also a small craft.
I said to you that I said that, and at that time he asked me a question. I was talking about the demand of the Ghana Air Force. And the demand of the Ghana Air Force was that we needed a larger aircraft to do strategic lift. And I said that if we are going to travel, then in this country we can get the president and his entire crew to travel. He then asked me a question about the numbers. And I said, look, can you imagine a president traveling with 11 people or a president traveling and then the rest traveling and bringing extra costs, or a president traveling with 19 people? Which one will you choose? In any case, this cost that he's talking about, 2.8 million, that is his cost. That is Ablakwa's cost too.
But do you know the cost?
I'm saying he knows how to get a cost. We all know how to get a cost.
I think he's filed a question to the finance minister for that to happen.
I'm saying when we were looking for so let us wait for that cost. But he does see Ablakwa's cost. I want us to move away from that cost because it's not correct. Let us move away from it.
If it's not correct, then you have to tell us what the correct number is.
And I'm saying that he knows that I will answer to questions that are in my capacity.
No, but once you challenge that he's not correct, then you all have the responsibility of telling us what the correct number is.
I am saying to you that is his assertion.
Which you challenge.
So if he has asked a question, he should wait. When the answer comes, he will know the answer.
I mean, to be fair to him, I mean, you are the one who brought it up and said it's not correct. And so once you said that, you have to provide us the correct answer.
And I'm saying to him that I know that it's not correct. Because there's nobody, there's nobody who sees an advertising and goes to pay that. Have you ever done that before? Even a car, when they advertise, you pay the exact amount of money.
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Blackwell is on. Mr. Blackwell, so if you look
Where did he get the figure? Ask him.
I mean, but honorable, if you push that angle, then you have to tell us what the correct figure is. If you push
And I'm
the
saying
angle, because
he saw me and asked the finance minister, so I cannot take the win out of the sail of whoever is going to answer that question. I cannot.
yeah, but
It will be
you start,
unfair to the people of Ghana and to myself and to the person answering the question.
yeah, but you are pushing him to challenge him on that question.
I'm just saying that he knows how Parliament works. When you ask a question, you wait for the answer. But when you decide to put your figures out, you muddy the waters.
Mr. Blackwell, what's your response to that?
There are a number of issues I would like to respond to very quickly before I come to the cost matter, if you permit me. First, let me place on record that I have never put in a request for an aircraft belonging to the state of Ghana. Neither have I flown in one as a member of parliament. So let's be state for the record, because the way he spoke that UNP make a request and it costs 5,000 or 10,000, I have never put in any request. Neither have I flown in any aircraft belonging to the state. Number two, the claim about the numbers, that if the president is traveling with 20 people, some may have to go ahead and all. That's why they went for this aircraft. As we were pointing out to him, the maximum of seats available on this ACJ 320 Neo, and our listeners can Google and check. This is the world's most luxurious and most expensive aircraft ever manufactured. So it's generating a lot of news in aviation circles and in the world generally. If you Google ACJ 320 Neo, you see it. It doesn't take more than 90, between 17 and 19 capacity at the maximum.
And I can confirm that. I can confirm that indeed.
Yes.
The website checks that.
So the need for higher passenger seats really falls flat. Then I must also add.
But there's a difference of 8 people, Mr. Blackwell. That makes a difference.
I must also add that
Mr. Blackwell, there's an important point that you missed. There's a difference of 8 people. That is important in presidential travels. Between that and the Falcon.
No. That's not the difference. I've told you that per our records in Parliament, the Hansard of 19 March 2008, this Falcon takes 15 with
including the crew.
Yes, including the crew.
But
and
the 19.
This 19 also includes the crew. This 19 includes the crew.
So
we are talking about a difference of 4.
Of 4 people.
And the minister told us in Parliament that they needed to go for this jet because of security and journalists. So just because of 4 people, we have to spend over 122,000 Ghana cedis an hour. Just because of 4 people. That difference, is it worth it? Is it value for money? Then the minister also says that there have been times that others have had to travel ahead or after the president when they use the Falcon. In this case, though we spent this colossal amount of money on this ACJ 320 Neo, during the vetting of the Honorable Charles Edouboahin, the Minister of State for Finance, he revealed that he joined the president in Belgium and he flew commercial. So even beyond this huge lease, this massive rental, there were others who still flew commercial to join the president, as the Honorable Charles Edouboahin revealed in Parliament during his vetting. So again, that advantage that you say we get when we opt for this profligate ACJ 320 Neo, that advantage evaporates. We don't see it. Now let me come to the matter of the cost. I have been working on this matter for a while. Aviation Acropolis, remember, is the Farnborough-based entity open to the general public. I made my inquiries with them. It is not some secret organization. Anybody who wants to charter a jet, you in the media, you can cross-check. And I'm sure you may have done it already. From Acropolis Aviation, what their charges are. And I have done that as a diligent ranking member on the Foreign Affairs
and
Committee.
I must explain, if you go to their website, they have a place you can fill in for a quote. You can get a quote.
Exactly.
You type
exactly.
in
and
then you get a quote.
That is what I did, and I was told this figure.
But Mr. Blackwell, you also need to consider that depending on how long you want to use it, there are discounts that you will get. So that is the advertised rate. You might not get that. You might not actually pay for that.
Look, I have considered. Do you know that my estimates are so conservative? I have not even added other things. For example, they tell me that if you lay over and they have to spend the night, you pay for the hotel bill and the landing rights as the aircraft waits on you. The president spent a considerable number of days in France, and then he was overnight in South Africa. I haven't added all those additional costs because I know my friends on the other side. If you do a comprehensive analysis and you miss the point by even one, they will come out and say, "Oh, you have exaggerated. You are peddling falsehood." So this is a very conservative estimate. The 2.8 million. I have not factored in so many other things. That is why I'm requesting the Honorable Finance Minister to come and give us the full and total cost of these presidential travels, including all the landing rights that we paid for, the hotel bills for the crew, and all of that. I must also touch on the issue of safety. The defense minister says that
Mr. Blackwell,
they consider safety high on the agenda.
Mr. Newton, just a second, I'll come to you shortly. Yes, Mr. Blackwell, please wrap up for me.
Yes. Do you know that in every country, and this is trite, presidential travels on their presidential jets are the safest? Because with that one, you have your crew who owe allegiance to you, who are from your country, who have been screened. When you go for these commercial jets, and talk to Acropolis Aviation, they don't allow any other pilots to man their aircraft. They insist on their own crew. How can you tell me that you are considering security? Security is high up on the agenda, and that this is rather the option that you choose. When you have trained your pilot here, the communication squadron of the Ghana Air Force have men of impeccable track record who owe allegiance to Ghana, who can protect the commander-in-chief far better than any other foreign national can.
Let me
tell me that you are putting the president's security high up. You are not.
Let me bring back in Mr. Nitowell. You've made a point today that the Air Force is requesting that we buy a bigger jet that can do a longer haul.
That's true. I requested that the Air Force had requested, and it was President Kufuor who heeded to that request and ordered 2 jets. His government cancelled the bigger jet and left the smaller one. We don't know the reason, but I have said before in Parliament that the reason couldn't have been money because they paid judgment debts to Woyomi and the likes, equivalent to more than double the amount of money we used to buy that jet. So it couldn't have been money. They should tell us the reason why they cancelled it and paid judgment debts that were even more than that. But this jet is not the most expensive. Look, today is we are in the internet world. Just Google presidential or business or executive jets cost, and you will see which one. This one does not even feature.
Yeah, but if it's £15,000 an hour, it's expensive for a Ghanaian.
I am not saying that. I am not, because the cost I told you, as he himself has confirmed, is that he doesn't even know the cost. So I don't even want to talk about the cost.
Okay.
But I've talked about the cost of the aircraft that we operate. That if you want to operate the CASA, which they have been using in the country, it's 10,000 an hour. Helicopter is 5,000 an hour. And the presidential fleet, this Falcon, is $10,000 an hour. So it is not as if when we are operating ours, it's for free. You spend $10,000 an hour. And CAPSAP that they are using everywhere, and they go to Mali, they go here. Parliament will take it to Mali, take it to these Black Stars who ask, football teams who ask, is $10,000 an hour. And I said that what the Air Force has asked for is a strategic lift. And that strategic lift can lift the president, it can lift VVIPs, it can lift footballers, it can lift soldiers. That's all I asked. Okay. I said.
Are you going to come to Parliament to formalize this request?
I was happy that he, Ablakwa, Honorable, concluded by asking me that it's not better for us to buy a new presidential jet. The one they cancel, it's not better for us to bring back that jet and get. And I told him that this is all I have been saying to you. That I'm not here to come because I'm not here to come and talk about what has happened. I'm here to come and request and let you know that yes, the Falcon is serviceable. But it's serviceable only to the extent that security advice will advise that, look, at this time, don't use it. This Falcon has had two engine failures. So when you say it is pretty, it is an engine. It's not automatic. It is not absolute. It is an engine. Anything can happen. 2 engine failures. This presidential aircraft he calls pristine and is so impeccable. It has 2 engine failures and a battery failure.
In the interest of time, so Parliament expect a formal request for that presidential jet the Air Forces?
I need to do a lot of consultations with everybody, political parties, with the likes of him. It is my duty to explain to people like him for them to understand that, look, this is what the Air Force is looking for. That's why I'm not interested in this banter. I just wanted, the only reason I agreed to speak was the headlines that I just way off, and people are just saying things that are not. That's not what I said.
I'm grateful. Dominic. I'm grateful, Dominic Nitiwo. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Also, Okudzeto Ablakwa also join us with the thoughts. Listen, there is more to interrogate on this matter, and so we'll have a longer time to do this on PM Express, just to get into the actual details of this matter. And so join me at 9 p.m. As we speak to the Defense Minister and Okudzeto Ablakwa. Still ahead.
Investigations by Africa Education Watch reveals how question papers were leaked in the 2020 WASSCE from various distribution points to online platforms.